We continue through tribal lands as we work our way up to the border, which isn't far away. I just wanted to point out these islands here, some of my favorite. These are called the Susies. Hi, we're at it again. We're going to go back to the dog class definition, and we're going to do a few more fixes to make it a little more complete. Last time, you'll remember, we took the class of dog and we established private data members, meaning that the client did no longer have access to them. We established some public member functions right here, called accessors, that would allow the client to see the name and see the weight. And so that was a good thing. They still have that capability. But what if the client needs to make a change into one of these data members or another? Today we're going to investigate that and see what we can do. So let's, for example, go down to our main program and give it a new capability here. It turns out nobody likes the name Killer. The dog doesn't even like to be called Killer. He never comes. Okay? So we're going to give the dog a new name. And as it happens, it turns out that the name the dog seems to respond to is Yo-Yo. Okay. So we're going to read in a new name for the dog. Now I guess this means we have to have a variable to store that. So we'll put that in. And we're going to read in this new name. And now we're faced with a problem of how do we update the name of your dog? We don't have any way to do that. We cannot do this. Because assignment statements are off limits with this. We cannot directly get at name anymore. Name is private. So how are we going to handle this? The way we're going to handle this is back in the class definition, we're going to provide a capability for a public member function to make a change in private data. Now it's interesting to think about this, because this function is going to change the name. Remember that all of the members of the class, all of the functions know all about the private data members all the time. For a class member function, the data members are not off limits. So we can make changes, and functions that do changes are called mutators. So here we go. I'm going to make a mutator. I'm going to call it set name. And the idea here is that we are going to send in a name, and this function will put that name into the private data member for us. It allows the client to be able to make a change. So let's go down here to our main program where we were going to do this. Come here. And now, knowing that we can't, we have to do something else, and instead we're going to do this. We'll tell the dog to set its name to whatever we want. Okay, and then we'll display the information later. Let's give this a shot. Control X, yes, out. Let's compile it. Compile, let's run it. Now if this works correctly, the dog's name won't be Killer. It'll be whatever we give it. Enter a new dog name. Yo-Yo. Bingo. It worked. We were able to make a change to a private data member through a function called a mutator. That's pretty significant. Even though the data is walled off, we can see the data through our accessor functions, and we can change the data through our mutator functions. Now you may say, why are we even doing this? And the main reason we're doing this is because we want to take control of the change process. Here's another mutator that we could put in. This one will change the weight. We're going to send in a new weight, and we'll make a change. Oh, but wait just a minute. What if the user types in a negative number for weight? In that case, we shouldn't make this change. So that's just fine. We will only make the change if the weight is greater than 0. So this gives us the ability to control the input, to validate it and make sure it's good. And if it's less than or equal to 0, we could print out an error message too. But for now, we'll just do it this way and see what we can do. All right, so I have a function called setWeight. Let's assume the dog may have lost weight. Okay, fine. Then we'll ask the user to enter a new weight. I guess that means we need a variable for that. We'll read whatever they give us. And then, now remember, we can't do this, especially when I spell it wrong. We can't do that because weight is off limits. But we have a public member function, a mutator, that does allow us to make a change. And so we'll just drop the new weight in there and have it make the change. All right. Let's save it, get out, compile it, run it, enter the new dog's name. Fido this time. Maybe it's better. I don't know. Oh, a new weight. Now the dog was 75 pounds. Now it's down to 55 pounds. Okay. And we see a display function prints out exactly what your dog is. Now the name is Fido and weighs only 55 pounds. So we've made the changes. Walling off data in private seems like a strange thing to do, but it protects it. It makes it so the client has to use the public member functions you provided, the accessors and mutators, to get anything done. And that means we can begin to control and check for errors in the data when it's entered. The client doesn't have to write all kinds of special code to do that. We do it for them. setWeight can check and see if the weight's any good, and if it is, it plugs it in. And if it's not, yeah, we could print an error message too. That's the purpose of mutators. That's why we use them. So there we go. We've got data hiding illustrated with our private data members. And to get around the limitations that gives us, we have accessor functions that tell you what's in the data, and we have mutator functions that can tell the client, or that can allow the client to make a change. That's all the tools that we have that we'll use. Good. Thank you for watching.